All right, chat, what is going on today? Episode 34. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm actually, I got a new extension, Phoenix, because some of your pictures came out sideways, so I gotta rotate them a little bit. But this tool should be good. There we go, just like that, perfect. I love Chrome. Chrome extensions are the best. Like, literally, I wouldn't be able to do 90% of this whole grade review stream if I didn't have Chrome extensions. But they're probably stealing my data, but whatever. If it steals my data, so be it. The dark web can have it. But it's all good. We should be good. Based on what I'm seeing on stream, we should be good. So welcome in, guys. While I get this first submission ready, I'm going to kind of talk and prepare at the same time, because that's what we do here. So if you guys are new here, my name is Galaxia Gaming, and this is episode 34 of what we like to call grade review. So what grade review is, in a nutshell, is people from the community will submit their cards in our Discord for a free grade review. And so what that means is we look at them, we say, you know, this card is going to get this grade or that grade, just based off of previous experiences, because I do this as a side business. In addition, we have the community weigh in as well on what we think these cards would get as a PSA grade. So it's a cool thing that we do completely for free, might I add, just to kind of look at some really cool cards, try to just have an open discussion on what to look for when you're out in your local game stores or in any trade shows or anything like that, because all this knowledge and all of what we see, all the different variations of condition of cards, just helps us better as a community to determine what cards are worth picking up or worth grading, or the reverse, what's not worth picking up or what's not worth grading. Because at the end of the day, grading does cost money, but grade review does not. And so as a refresher, if you want to learn how to submit your cards for next week's or even future submissions, all you have to do is click the link tree in my bio of this TikTok or YouTube, wherever you're coming in from. And that's not the link tree. That's a pair of pants. So you go here, and all you have to do is select the Discord icon, and that'll send you a direct link to the Discord. And it also now has a really integrated, well thought out onboarding process, which was actually provided by Discord. So super excited to show off that for new members, and that's how you do it. Joran, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. The Carmine is what I got in the trade for a left heavy PAL evolved Magikarp. Oh, very cool. I think I had it queued up here. Yeah, this one, right? The Carmine. Yeah, we got that queued up. Unfortunately, with the Chrome extension, I really can't zoom in because it'll reset everything. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into it. We got a lot of cards today. Well, it looks like we have about 19 total today. So the plan is to go through the 19, kind of chill and talk with chat, and yeah, hang out. And probably, if we have some time, I started a TCG card store simulator run on Monday, and I'm super addicted. So I really would want to play that on stream as well. So let us get right into it. So this submission, it's a little out of order, but it's kind of nice to kind of see the full process as we go here. So this is from Phoenix, who is pretty consistent in coming to stream. So thank you, Phoenix, as always, for showing up, as well as everyone else. Augustine, I sent in my Carmine to Beckett. Very cool. Well, you definitely have to let us know what you get. I'm always interested in what people get when they go through this process or just kind of submitting on their own. So as always, I'm just going to go through this for those of you who may or may not be new. And I appreciate all the likes and everything that I'm seeing as well. I appreciate that extra exposure because that's what TikTok and YouTube loves. They love for us to feed the algorithm to help out other people. So likes and shares and follows is all very much appreciated. We just actually broke 9K followers, so thank you guys so much. And without further ado, I'm going to stop yapping and we're going to start grading. So as always, for those of you who are new, there are 4 main grading criteria when we look at cards. So that is centering, corners, edges, and surface. So in this example, I'm going to review this Charizard using 2 different tools. So we have a magnifying tool that allows me to kind of zoom in a little bit on the screen of some of these cards, as well as make some illustrations, which is kind of cool. So if I see any scratches or anything like that, I can kind of use this pen tool to highlight anything that we might see on this Charizard. So we are going to do that now. So first off is centering. So the centering looks pretty good on this Zard. We've definitely have graded and assessed a lot worse. So far, so good. So the first thing that I'd like to point out, and it's very common for base set, jungle, and fossil, which is known as silvering. So silvering, hopefully you guys can see my magnifying tool on the top here. So really quick, silvering is when, during the process, when these cards were cut off the sheet, Wizards of the Coast wanted to churn and burn these cards out as fast as they could. So a byproduct of that is that they never had time to replace the cutting blades. So the more the blades would go through the card stock, and I got to be careful with my language because sometimes I get blocked from TikTok from using blade. So I guess scissors, we'll say scissors. So when the scissors cut through the card stock, the scissor edges get dull. So as a result, it will chip that top layer off, that yellow layer, and will reveal the hollow underneath. So it was very common for the printings of base set, jungle, and fossil for that very reason. So we do have a little bit of that showing on the top of this Zard, but the corners look really good. Honestly, the top left corner looks great, bottom left looks great, bottom right looks great, but again, we have a little bit of silvering on that right side, and that's about it. So the next thing I like to look at, especially for vintage, is I like to take a peek at the text. So sometimes there can be things like gunk or dirt or debris or anything like that that might be stuck on the card, which would impact that surface grade. So far, I don't see anything, which is fantastic. Now, as we go to the holo, obviously we're seeing some major points of scratches, right? So, oh, thank you so much, Ryan. That's awesome. Well, welcome in. Glad to see you live. So as we look at the scratches here, right, I'm just going to highlight some of these just in case if anyone can't see them. And I'm actually going to make them I'm going to make them a little bit exaggerated when it comes to the pen tool. So you'll have to forgive me here. And that might be a little bit too thick for me. So let's say about 6 should be good. So I'm just going to kind of make some illustrations on some scratches that I see. So just in case if you can't, yeah, I would imagine Phoenix. So we have some scratches here, and kind of down the mouth here. So you can kind of see those are kind of the main ones, and to the left and to the right of these green lines, which I just illustrated on screen. If you can kind of zoom in or look closely at your phone, there's pretty much scratches all over, which is as to be expected for something like this. So not, not wild or anything like that. But we do have to consider that for the grade. The other thing that I'm also seeing, but I don't know, and the one nice thing when you guys do have your cards for review, it's always nice to have you in chat. So for example, near this 0 in 120, this is either a hair, a piece of dirt, or a stain next to that 120 HP area. So that I'm not too sure on what it is or not. So I'll have to wait for Phoenix, hopefully, to message us what that is. But for now, it just looks like a hair. And it was a hair. Okay, so we'll have to omit this as like a stain or a piece of dirt. So we'll have to keep that in mind as we flip it over. So as we flip it over, this is where most of the damage kind of comes into play with most cards, because it's very solid blue, it's very solid coloring, so it's a lot easier to see imperfections on the back than on the front. So you can kind of see all the whitening. It never came out of a top loader until I took it out of the photo. Nice. So we have some whitening on the corners, some edge wear, pretty much all around the card, for the most part. And oh, thanks for, we just broke 1K likes. Thank you so much, guys. So as we look across this card, it's pretty much just this, it's just the edge wear in the corners is really all I'm seeing in terms of major issues. I mean, there's some, you know, there's some mild surface wear, surface scratches on the back, but not too bad. And I think these little dots can probably just be, I commonly say, little white spots. They can be just be wiped off with a microfiber cloth or something like that. That should be fine. And so just doing one last peek here. So in this part, we'll have to wait a little bit more, because typically what I like to do for the chat voting is I like to have at least 10 people or so to be in here, but we'll use this as an example. So for those of you who are in here, if you want to vote on what you think this Charizard would get as a PSA grade, now is your chance to do so. So I'll open up the poll. So how it works is if you type in !vote followed by the number you think this card would get as a PSA grade, with everything that I've highlighted both on the front with some of these scratches, as well as the back with some of this surface wear or edge wear. So again, if you guys want to vote on what you think this card would get, there might not be enough people, but it's okay. Just type in !vote followed by the number, and it'll tally it up both for both YouTube and TikTok, wherever you're watching me from tonight. All those will kind of be added in, and that will be the chat grade. So while you guys are voting, again, !vote followed by the number. I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. So we got some 4s, we got some 6s. Just didn't want to only do waifus. I hear you, Phoenix. I hear you. But yeah, there's a lot of modern stuff. There's what's that new Japanese set that just came out that has yet another waifu chase card? I forgot what her name was. She's the one with the Altaria. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight, as always. It's always cool to hang out with you and chat with you guys. Paradise Dragona. That's it. The Latios and Latias look really cool. The Alolan Executor looks cool. It's a pretty cool set all around. Like I think it's probably, in my opinion, probably like slightly above average. It's a great set for sure. It's a great set. The Latios and Latias is always really cool. Always a big fan of those. These are in a lockbox, Phoenix, really? That's interesting. I wonder if your parents kind of did what mine did, where, you know, I kind of fell out of Pokemon for a little bit going up in middle school, and, you know, they kind of pretended that I got rid of them, and so they reintroduced them back to me years later when I was like showing interest again. Hey Trev, how's it going? Always nice to see you, and thank you so much for those hearts. I appreciate that very much. It's Licia, that's what it was. The name the name was like right on the tip of my tongue, and I could not remember for the life of me what it was. But all right, so let me just wrap up the poll here. So we are looking at, so chat is thinking. So again, if you guys have never seen this part before, so what I do is I'll just kind of quickly illustrate what you guys had, and the chat grade was a 4. So now I'm gonna just kind of take this over here, boop, drag that over. And so now it is now my turn to give what I think this Charizard from base set would get. So again, the major issues that I see, centering is actually really good. There is some mild silvering, but as to be expected for base set, and some hollow scratching, the exact same thing. So right off the bat, on the front, and it is confirmed by Phoenix that this is a hair by the 120 HP, so that doesn't factor in. So I'd say on the front alone, we're looking at a pretty solid 7, but of course we have to flip it over. So let me just save this real quick. So if we flip it over, really we have a lot of surface wear and corner, well, not surface wear, edge wear, corner wear, and a little bit of surface wear, but not as much as the first two. So all 4 corners are affected to some degree, and we have to mark that here. So we have some corners that are a little bit whitened. We have some whitening on the top, pretty much whitening all And man, that was an awful line. We have whitening all down here. We have some in this corner edge, pretty much this entire bottom edge. So basically what it kind of comes down for me, so when I think of a card that's in a PSA 4, I equate that to something that's in heavy play. So the question for me, because chat voted 4, so in my head it's like, okay, is it heavy play? And the biggest thing that I do not see, which is really good for you, Phoenix, in my opinion, is that I don't see any notable creases or major dings, which is actually really good. So I think because of that, I definitely think the whitening on the back is a little bit rougher than being in the light play category. So I would feel pretty strongly that unless there's some other like bend or crease that we simply can't see on this image, my guess personally would probably be a PSA 5. Because again, if there was another major crease or major bend or anything like that, it would definitely be in that 4, even a 3 category because of the whitening. But I think the front is, you know, if you're just look at the front, I'm really thinking a 7. And then when you flip it over, it kind of brings that down to a 5 because we don't see those creases, we don't see those bends, and we don't see those dings. So I think that's a pretty strong vote overall. The 4 and a 5, I think, is a really good overview on what this card could get. So thank you for that. And so next, like Phoenix said, we're right off of the Charizard tax. I'm sure we're going to look at 4 more, 5 more, 6 more Charizards as we're going along. But now we are going after some of the trainer chases from other sets. So now we just looked at vintage. So now the process kind of changes a little bit when we look at modern, when we do these types of reviews. So in a nutshell, again, for those of you who are new, in a nutshell, for modern, we just look at centering and corners, essentially. Those are the big 2 that give the most issues when it comes to grading modern, because it's essentially a 10 or bust, meaning that if it's a PSA 9, even PSA 9s for modern are fetch roughly the same price as it would if you were to buy it near mint from TCG Player or in person or wherever you buy your cards from. So that's why we tend to kind of just do a quick PSA 10 or not. So let's look at this Erica's invitation. So the first part is, I believe that the centering from left to right is pretty good. The bottom is also pretty well centered. And one thing that I've actually picked up from you guys, which again, that's why I really do enjoy these grade reviews, because I, believe it or not, I learn a lot from you guys and some of your observations that you make. And this support banner kind of goes a little bit further up the border. So this, although it looks a little bit thinner than the bottom, it's intended to be that way because it kind of overlaps with it. So the centering overall, even though like on paper, the bottom looks a little bit thicker than the top, but because of this art style or this type of card, it will still constitute as well centered. So far the front, and also being on screen, the texture of these types of cards makes it very difficult to see any major imperfections. But I feel that, again, since this card is in pretty good shape in the sense that it's brand new, I'm not really worried about the surface as much. So as we flip it over, the centering on the back also looks great. Again, I bring this up a lot, but it's always worth noting for you, Phoenix, is that these little white dots that you see, that they're pretty common when it comes out of a pack fresh. That probably wipe those off before you submit those. Trev, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate you. So if we can get rid of those just so that you don't have any chance of impacting your surface grade, because again, the big 2 are corners and centering. The other thing, and I don't know if it is because of the camera or the image, but this on this top right up here, and I'll just kind of leave my mouse there and hopefully you guys can see it. It does look a little bit like there is some whitening in that top right hand corner, but you might have to confirm that for us. And if you guys need a little bit better view, the YouTube, which I'm also co-streaming on right now, same name, has a little bit of a bigger view on it. So if you wanted to have an extra set of eyes, I'm streaming over there as well. But for the most part, from what I can tell, it looks okay, but I could also tell, or I would also could be convinced that it is some degree of whitening as well. But I just simply don't know. So if that's not whitening, this is a pretty strong 10 contender after you kind of get rid of some of these little white specks or white little dust particles, whatever you want to call them, off the card. But if this is whitening in that top right-hand corner, then unfortunately it probably wouldn't get the 10, in my opinion. All right, so next up we have the Irida. So let's take a look at that. So this one, so what I was just talking about with the Erica's Invitation, the Irida does appear to be a little bit thicker on the top than it does on the bottom. So we do have to consider that. But aside from that, even maybe, actually I have the trusty ruler. So this is what I use if you're watching me on YouTube. So I just use this kind of clear ruler. When I do these grade reviews, I'll just put the ruler right up against the screen. And so we're going to measure the left side real quick. And the left side is a 1/4 inch on my screen. And then the right side is just shy of a 1/4 inch. But I think it's still within, technically PSA says that it should be 60/40. But I've said this once and I'll keep saying it until I pass out. I think for Pokemon specifically, it's more 55/45. Because, again, a lot of the standards that were set by PSA were more for sports. And so I, just based off my experience, that's kind of the rule of thumb that I follow. So on the top, we have a 1/4 inch, and on the bottom, we have almost an eighth, just shy of an 1/8 of an inch. So based off of the ruler, we do have a little bit of off centering from the top to the bottom. But let's flip it over. And yeah, you can also see too, where I was kind of saying, yeah, it might be a little bit thicker on the left side than the right. And as we flip it over, it's a little bit more confirmed that that is the case because it's now on the right side. So looking from the right to the left on that, so this right side is a bit thicker than the left. So I think based off of the centering, especially on the back, I don't believe you'll get the 10 on this. I could be wrong because again, they're more lenient on the back on the than compared to the front. But I personally think Pokemon's a little bit adjusted based off of like the quote unquote grading standards for sports cards for PSA. So if this gets the 9 because of the centering both on the front and the back, I wouldn't be surprised. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so now that I got done with those, I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit more on this one so you guys can have a better sense of what I'm looking at here. So, 2.6K, thank you guys so much for all the likes before I move on. All the follows, shares, and likes, always appreciated. And again, this is a completely free service. If anyone has any questions, if you guys are new here, I'm more than happy to answer on where to go. If you want to submit your cards for free for a future grade review, I'm more than happy to help anyone out. So definitely appreciate all the love and support. So let's move on. So the centering on this card looks to be pretty good. The top, bottom, left, right looks really good in respect to what this card actually is. The full art, a little bit of an extension into the border from this top edge. Again, I've learned that from you guys. So the front looks really good. The back, I would say, also looks very good. And as I'm kind of looking here, so we're kind of looking at the left edge versus the right. And so to me, and you guys might want to, if anyone has any comments or wants to weigh in, to me, it looks like that left side is pretty well centered compared to the right. I think regardless, even if it's a little off center, I still think that the card is a good contender for that PSA 10. Because I don't see any whitening in the corners, which again is very common for modern, in the sense of taking the 10 opportunity away is due to those whitened corners. But I think this is a good 10 contender in my opinion. I don't see anything wrong with the front. The front looks really well centered. The back looks really well centered. I don't see any whitening on the corners or anything like that. So far you got that going for you. So I think, in my opinion, I think this is a really good PSA 10 contender for sure. Okay, so next in your submission, you have the Miriam. And honestly, with the Miriam specifically, I think a lot of people, when Scarlet and Violet first came out, I really thought that this card was going to go up a lot more in price, but it always seems like for the modern stuff specifically, the base sets just don't do as well for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just because, you know, they're more basing it off of the hype of the new generation or what, but they tend not to do so hot, in my opinion, when compared to the other sets within that generation, which is always interesting. So regardless, let's look at this. So it looks very well centered. Corners look great. Surface looks good from what I can tell. Let's flip it over. Hopefully it's the same. Maybe a little bit thicker on the left side, like on this side compared to the right. From at like first glance. Let me even. It's probably gonna get crazy zoomed in, but let's take a look. So like. Oh yeah, that's wicked zoomed in. So right here on this right side compared to the left, this looks a bit thicker, but I think you might still be good, in my opinion, because of that little wiggle room when it comes to the back. So I think honestly you should be in pretty good shape, in my opinion, for the Miriam. So again, a lot of like the trainers that you showed, I think with the exception of what was it? I gotta look up again. The Irida, I think. The Irida, yeah. I think with the exception of the Irida, I think you have pretty good shots at 10s for the full trainers, for the full art trainers. So kudos to you, man. I probably would submit them. I'd probably submit the Ericas, the Miriam, and what was the other one? Because honestly, I haven't opened these, and I keep forgetting what the newer sets. The Carmine, that's what it was, the Carmine. Let's see. Very, very weird. So I definitely appreciate you guys being patient, because for whatever reason, my chat was absolutely frozen. So I'm like, oh, no one's talking about anything. And now I clicked back into it, and it's actually updated. So if anyone is asking me any questions, I apologize. I don't know why I just updated. So yeah, so JB Blakey. So if you guys want to have your cards submitted and reviewed for another grade review, so how it goes is if you go into my bio, there's a link tree. So you click that, it should look like this, what you're seeing on screen now. And all you have to do is just select the Discord icon. It'll send you an invite link, and all you have to do is just go through the basic. It's a really cool, actually, that Discord actually baked into the server. So it takes you through an onboarding process. So you just go through there, you authenticate yourself. It's very easy, and it'll direct you to where the grade review channel is. And all you got to do is when you're in the grade review channel, you just submit your pictures, both front and back, outside of sleeves, outside of top loaders, outside of all that. And you can submit as many as you want. It's completely for free, but it is first come, first serve, and it's 5 cards per person per stream. So that's the only stipulation. But yeah, and that's pretty much how you do it. Again, it's completely free. We do it every Wednesday. This is the 34th episode, and yeah. I just uploaded some photos in the grade review. Hope I did it right. I'm sure you did, Augustine. Yeah, let's not tell him, Phoenix. All right, we'll keep that between us. We'll definitely keep that between us for sure. I won't tell if you won't tell. All right, so yeah, that was so bizarre. I was like, oh my god, like no one's talking. I don't know what I did, but then I had to click my browser and it all of a sudden just loaded. I don't know what that was about. All right. So next up, we have a pretty frequent flyer. Did you see my Terapagos comment? I didn't. What waifus? Send them all, Phoenix. I'm telling you, just don't be afraid. Let it rip. Let it rip. Send whatever you want. I am not ashamed. So I don't know why that one's taking forever to load. Let me try another one. Man, it's just my browser or what here? I got a PC ETB of Stellar and got the Terapagos SIR in it. That's awesome. Congratulations, that's sick. I have an AGS 9 Marnie that I might want to get redone. Redone meaning like regraded. Man, is it like... Let's see. Can we... Man, what is bogging me down? That's off. Did you review the Tyranitar Flareon yet? Nope, not yet, Marcus. We're getting there. It is slow loading. I don't know what's going on. Because it's not... I don't see any drop frames on my end. I don't know what's going on. Let me... Man, this is like I'm like on dial-up. It's crazy. Let's see. Let's try doing this. 1 second. I'm gonna try something real quick, and you guys can see me. So let's take a look. Might just need a quick refresh of the old browser here. Let's see. Let's try this again. And we go back to the Pikachu. There we go. Now it's loading. I think it was just the browser for whatever reason. I don't know if it's probably that stupid extension, to be honest. That extension, I was like, oh, like I can actually see the cards and whatever. And as I find out, it's like just sucking my internet. We're back in business. Yeah, it's up and running now. Let me check some other ones. Yeah, now it's like, I think it was just I just needed to refresh the browser. I'm gonna preload some of these just in case. Just in case if it happens again, because it's flying now. I don't know what was hanging up. It was definitely that extension. I don't know what I just gave like the Russian government, but they have it now, whatever it is. Taking those photos made me want to clean my playmat. Sometimes that needs to happen. I hear you. I mean, anytime I go on stream, like this whole like right side of me, you guys can't see it right now, but this whole right side of me, I always try to keep clean because that's like the last thing I want to see. Oh, nice. We just hit 3.4K likes on the stream. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right. So next up, what I was going to say, a frequent flyer of the channel is Hydra. So Hydra submitted this Celebrations Pikachu that we're going to take a look real quick. So let us take a look. So again, modern 2023, we're going to pretty much just look for whether or not this card would be considered as a PSA 10 or not. It's a little blurry in the corners, but it's good enough that we can tell what we're looking at. So the centering is actually really good. On the front, hollow to me looks pretty good. So we'll flip it over. And unfortunately, I do see some dirt, which hopefully can be removed with like a microfiber cloth or something like that, or distilled water and a Q-tip. I always talk about that. Probably get rid of that. But this bottom part, it looks like there is some degree of wear and tear on that bottom corner. So I don't think because of that, and there's also some whitening here on the top left corner, I don't think that this Pikachu would get the PSA 10, probably even an 8, depending on what else is on the back here. But yeah, that's my opinion. Almost time to clean them cards. I know, Phoenix. We just hit 9K, so that's what I'm gonna have to start doing. I'm probably gonna start planning that next week. And first, like, kind of show which ones I'm gonna be cleaning for my actual childhood collection. and go through that process. So it's definitely time. It's definitely time. So looking forward to that. And honestly, I don't think I ever showed you guys like up close my childhood collection. So that'd be kind of cool. All right, next up is Rusty with the reverse rare Mewtwo Delta species from Holland Phantoms. So let us take a look. So we do have, let's see if I can show you guys a little bit better here. So it does look like we have some degree of, let me see, just give me 1 second here. There we go. Maybe we'll do some of the evolutions. Phoenix, I'm telling you, just feel free to just dump everything in there. I mean, obviously you have to be the one that takes the pictures, but definitely not bad. All right, so centering looks good. The only thing that I see in some of these angles, so that's another thing that's actually really good. Only get the tax cards, exactly, right? So the only thing that I see on here, and again, it's really nice to have these kind of multiple angles, is that it does look like there's either a print line or something going down the Mewtwo's face here, which is interesting. Let me kind of make this a little bit thinner, just so it's not taking up his entire face. So it's like right here, kind of going right down the middle of that card. So I believe that to probably be a print line, in my opinion. But I'll kind of keep that up there just so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So I wasn't seeing things with it. And then on this side, we do have a little bit of damage here in the top center. And then additionally, make sure that that's good there. Perfect. And then leave that there. Excellent. So now the only thing I probably see, but it might be nothing. Yeah, so we have some scratches here in that hollow portion to the right of the Mewtwo's head. So we have mild scratching there, but not too bad. I know, Jordan, that's what it looks like, right? Like literally split right down the middle. So we have a little bit of damage up there in the top, have some scratches there. But aside from that, in terms of like dirt or debris or anything like that, I'm not seeing too much. Same thing here. Not really seeing anything. Originally, I thought there was something on the bottom, but that was just dirt on my monitor. Yeah, not seeing any creases or corner dings or issues like that. Just that print line kind of right down the Mewtwo's face, which is really interesting. And on the back, you know, the back's not even looking that bad either. So we have some whitening there on the top right-hand corner. We have some in the top left as well. I have a little bit on the bottom left, a little bit on the bottom center, and on this right side. So really not bad overall on that picture. And then again, even with this overexposed shot, really not seeing a whole lot. So yeah, I think with just kind of the line, really most of the issues is just kind of this print line down the middle, which really it's kind of weird. It almost doesn't even look like a print line, but there is definitely something going on with that front. Joran, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate you. But yeah, just the strange line, the mild scratching on the right side, and then some mild whitening on the back. So honestly, like with all those kind of being factored in, and honestly, you know what? I don't even think these are scratches now that I'm looking at it. So like what I'm seeing here, I think is actually this is the artwork in the background. And I probably just wiped that, but it's okay. So I think it's just these, like part of that bridge. So what, like when it goes over the bridge and then to the right, these, I think the shadow, the illuminated part of the bridge is what I'm thinking is a scratch. So I actually don't think that's anything. I think it's just the front. because everything else looks really good with the exception of that mild ding on the top, where we kind of see in this section right where the tip of my mouse is. But that's about it. So I don't know. I think the front is in pretty good shape with that, except for that mild little ding, and then we have some mild whitening on the back. Like, you know, I think overall this card's in pretty good shape. Now, the question is, do I think it's light play or near mint? That's kind of the big question. So it's really just that strange line I can't really get over, because I don't really know. Well, actually, let's see. We're gonna do some investigation real quick. Actually, I'm gonna look up that card and just quickly make sure that Mewtwo doesn't actually have that line, unlike any other scans or anything like that. So let me take a look, because I just really want to make sure that it doesn't, and it does not. So as we kind of take a little side by side here, so this is just like a high res scan of this Mewtwo. So we're not seeing anything like down the middle. And then I was thinking that this bridge part I thought was these scratches, but these aren't actually scratches. It's just part of the artwork. So I think with that print line down the middle, the little ding up there, I'd probably give this, you know, unless there's something else wrong with it. Maybe there might be a scratch there too. Get rid of that. Because the mild whitening, I'm probably even thinking like a 7. But aside from that, like, unless that's worse in person, which to bring it down to a 6, I think it'd probably get a 7. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it almost doesn't look like a scratch. It's almost look like it's like an issue with the hollow, but it doesn't look like it's damaged, if that makes sense. That's what's really tripping me up. And again, that's why I really like doing these, to be honest, chat, is because it really does help kind of look at all these different combinations of cards and what they look like and everything like that. It's really interesting. So yeah, it looks pretty good to me. I'd probably give it a 7 aside from that. All right, so next up, so that was Rusty. Yes, so that was Rusty. So next is Advec. So let's take a look at their Drapion and the Virizion. That's pretty cool, back 2013. So let's take a look. So this Drapion looks well centered to me, with the exclusion of the back. So I don't think, just because of how thick this right side is compared to the left, I don't think you're going to get the 10 because of that on this Drapion. Yeah, I do too. I think it's the shiny variant Joran, which is really cool. So let us take a look. Okay, so the top edge, so this top part definitely looks thicker than the bottom. So it's a little off center on the top to the bottom. The left and right look pretty well centered. So let's save that real quick. Let's save, perfect. So the other thing that there might be a little bit of a dot in the top left. Oh, there you go. Phoenix kind of beat me to it. So we do have a little bit of a dot in the top left. As we kind of go across the edge here, maybe a little bit of something there on the bottom, almost look like a mild fold to some degree. If you guys can see that, Phoenix trying to beat me again. But aside from that, the card looks like it's in really good shape. So let's flip it over. Hopefully it's the same, and it is not, unfortunately. So we do have some whitening on the back, and interesting enough too. So that would have been, so the bottom left, or I'm sorry, the bottom right, that would have been the bottom left on the front. So I don't see anything, I don't see any issues here on the bottom left. But as we flip it over, the first thing I kind of see is almost like these look like little teeth marks, or not like actual teeth marks, but like serrated edges is what probably the better word to use. Which is interesting because that's going to obviously, you know, have some impact on the surface grade right? Because of those little indentations in the bottom right hand corner. So that is going to have an impact on the corner and the surface. And so as we look at the rest of the card, it's pretty much just mild whitening on all four corners and the top edge. So we have some here, have some in the top left. We have some in the bottom left, a little bit in the bottom right, and top right. Hey, Poke, how's it going? Welcome in, welcome in. Hopefully you're doing good. But yeah, this card looks great. Aside from that stuff on the bottom. So I think with anything like that, with like a dent, I would probably put this as a dent, in my opinion. That bottom right-hand corner, because of those little serrated edges, right? So dents and creases have a pretty significant impact on the overall condition of a card. So I would say, with how this card looks on the front, which is almost immaculate, it's really just the back dents and this little fold that's kind of taking over a little bit. But aside from those, I think it's still in really good shape. A great binder card is what we like to call in this stream. But unfortunately, I think it would probably get the PSA 6 because of the dings in the bottom right-hand corner and some of this kind of like very, very slight folding of the edge that what appears to be on stream, right? It might be different, but that's what it looks like with a little bit of a dot there. So I'd probably be comfortable giving this card a very strong PSA 6, in my opinion. So let's jot that down, because I think this is the first time we've looked at a Virizion on stream, so that's pretty cool. So GG6, good and busy. Well, I'm glad to see you in. Glad you're taking a break, taking a little chiller. I don't know if you, for those of you who were watching my TCG card shop simulator, how'd you guys like that so far? I think the game is so much fun. The fact that I can spray down people who are stinky card players was that was probably the top 5 best game mechanics I've ever experienced as a gamer. Being able to just spray down someone who was just reeking of BO. The fact that you could just aerosol them was awesome. I love that so much. Wish I could do that. I know, same here. You know? Excuse me. That's definitely my end goal, for sure. What I'd really want to do is open up a brick and mortar store. That's kind of like my big. I might have to refresh my browser. Samir, how can we get our cards rated by you? Yeah, so great question, Samir. So first, welcome. Second, if you guys want to have your cards reviewed for free on a future grade review stream, all you have to do is click the link in the bio. And then once you're there, the next part you're going to go to is this link tree. It's going to look something like this. And all you have to do is just click the Discord icon. It'll send you an invite. And once you go through the very, very quick onboarding process, it'll actually take you directly to the grade review channel among some other ones. And all you have to do is submit your cards, both front and back pictures, and follow the rules and the pinned messages. And that's pretty much it. You can submit as many as you want, completely for free, but it is first come, first serve, and it's 5 per card, 5 cards per person per stream. So those are pretty much the only rules, as long as it's outside of the top loaders and sleeves and stuff like that. So yeah. And thank you for the follow, Samir. I appreciate that. So yeah, if you have any issues, I kind of did the testing because I just introduced a new onboarding system. So if you have any issues, definitely let me know. But it should be pretty straightforward. Just pull a Lugia Altar. Has been wanting to see if I should grade it. Well, you've come to the right place, my friend. That's exactly what I like to hear, and that's what we like to do. And I'm going to refresh my browser because, again, it is taking forever for these to load. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to go to my just chatting. Hello, if you guys have never seen me before. That's my wall of cards that I had as a kid. Hopefully going to be, since we just broke 9K followers, which thank you guys so much. I'm going to be going through all my childhood collection and going through them and cleaning cleaning my own stuff, which I've never done that because I never really care, but I think it'd be kind of cool to show you guys my childhood collection. So let me just relaunch my browser here. Just give me 1 second. But yeah, super stoked to do that. And that's another thing too, if you guys have never seen me do cleaning streams, I do that quite often. I'm definitely going to be busy. I got at least 151 up there. Ooh, OG trying to rizz me up. That's what I like to see. Yeah, it must be just the, like, all the extensions running, because these cards are now loading like crazy. There we go. Beautiful. M, thank you so much for following the live and sharing the live. Thank you guys so much. And we're just about to hit 5K likes. You guys are awesome. Yeah, right, Phoenix. Jeremy, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate you. All right, so let's go to grade review time. Perfect. All right, we just hit 5K likes. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, Gry, we just looked at your Pikachu. I think I assessed it as an 8. So probably wouldn't get the 10, unfortunately, but... All right, so next up is Corey. So we just finished with Advex, Corey. And we're going to keep on keeping on. I'm not too sure. I think I posted the queue for tonight. But I don't know if your name is the same as what it is in Discord. But I have the queue posted in the Discord. All right. So next up is the Charizard EX. Very well centered. Corners look great. Unfortunately, yeah, you're still up, Marcus. I think you're going to be coming up next. So unfortunately, I don't think this card would get the 10. Again, I mentioned this on, it's kind of funny because the Blastoise EX actually had the same exact issue, which was this little bit of whitening on the bottom right hand corner. So unfortunately, because of that, and I know it's crazy to say, if you don't believe me, it is what it is, but that little bit of whitening will prevent this card, even though it's pack fresh, will prevent this card, and probably these little bits, unless that's on the table, but it looks like that's on the table, will prevent that card from getting a 10 because of this one little white dot on the bottom right hand corner. But so yeah, I don't think the Charizard EX would get that because of that, but still definitely near mint for sure. Next up, the Paldean Face Chase, the Charizard EX. And let's see. The top looks a little bit thicker than the bottom. So this top edge looking a little bit thicker than the bottom. So we do have that a little bit. Oh yeah, this card, even though me personally, I really don't look like how the Terastallized cards look. I just don't like the crown. I don't know if it's just me or what, but just the whole like big thing on its head. And the fact that they kind of know that because they kind of hid a lot of it with the card text and whatnot. So, in my opinion, but you know, to each their own. And again, I don't think this card will get the 10 either, because unless that's part of the table, but it doesn't look like it. There is this little bit of whitening here on this top left edge, as well as the top right. So I don't think that this card would probably get the 10 because of that. And the Charizards keep coming, bottom right. You know what, yes. You were, but that might be part of the the lighting though. Like you're talking about this part. That might be part of the lighting, because the light is coming from the right side. So maybe, but all right. Charizard V from Brilliant Stars. So far, so good. Thanks for the tiny diny, by the way, Poke. Didn't mean to ignore you. Thank you. As always. That's when I know you're here, is when I see the little dinosaur pop up on my screen. Let's see. So the corners look good. Maybe a little bit off center on this right side, because you can kind of see... Let me actually zoom in here. So if we kind of look into the corner here, this right side looks a little bit thicker. When kind of like, it's not as like 50-50 to the corner. And the donuts... So the right side looks a little bit thicker than the left. And I'm not too sure what that is. Again, these little white little dots, for those of you who are going to pull these cards from a pack and try to grade them, you have to remove these little white specks because they're not going to do it for you. So that will impact the surface. But there's a lot of issues here on this left edge too. Again, I don't know if these are bits of dust or something that can be wiped from the card. But I think because of this, I don't think it would get the 10. Just because there's a lot here that hopefully if you can get wiped off, great. But this right side is still a little bit thicker than the left, but I don't think it's as bad. But that back left side is where I'm really having the most issues with. And then last is the Lugia. The first thing I can say is the centering of this card is really good. Corners look great. I absolutely love this artwork. I actually saw someone do a Ho-Oh variant of this artwork, I think on Etsy or Reddit or something like that. It looks really cool. Again, these little white specks, we have to clean those up. We can't submit those because that will impact your surface grade for sure. So make sure you wipe those off. And then on the back, yeah, same thing here. It just looks like a lot of like that might be a piece of dirt or something. I'm not too sure when it was like laying on the table when he took the picture, if it transferred over. I have no idea. But we can wipe that off and wipe these off as well. It's weird. It almost seems like, I want to say if this, let me see. Let me just make sure that I'm actually not just looking at the same back. I think I am. Because we have that one. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's definitely what's happening. So the Lugia had, unfortunately, no, they're different. They're different pictures. Weird. Because it almost looks like it's the same issue on this left side too, on the Lugia, as it was on the Charizard, which is very strange. So yeah, I'd say again, like if we can get rid of this stuff, this left stuff in here, the card is pretty well centered from what I can tell. Looks a little off because it's almost like an angle being taken, and I don't see any whitening on the corners, which is huge. So this is probably your closest if you can get rid of this little black speck and these on the left side. I'm mad the Vulpix didn't get that kind of love in that set. Having like an SIR or an IR of Vulpix would be really cool to pair it with the Ninetales. I think that would look sick. So there's definitely a lot of different Pokemon, you know. That's why I love like the Illustrator rares and like the Trainer Gallery and the Galarian Gallery so much, is that it gives so many more unique opportunities to have some like really cool looking cards. But all I know, which I'm super excited, when the new trainer set comes out and the Team Rocket set, I am for sure gonna be buying some of those, because I absolutely love like the Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, Team Rocket stuff. So that, I think those sets are going to be huge when they come out, for sure. I don't know if anyone else is excited for those, but I certainly am. And oh, I almost missed your last one, Corey. My bad. You had a Venusaur. So let's I'm just gonna do this. Man, this is very... This is very strange. Where's my chat? There you are. Oh yeah, it's gonna be such a huge set. It's gonna be sick. All right, let's try this again. It's very odd. I have to like keep like refreshing. It was very strange. Try this. These are how print lines are made, right? They just like preload. They're getting like scanned in. That's too funny. All right, let's try this. We're gonna try this. Yeah, that would be something else. Nope. Let's see. And we're going to... All right, we gotta like... All right, so I can load them. I'm just gonna load them all. We're just gonna let it rip. We got the Tyranitar, the Flareon. Yeah, we're letting them rip, chat. Here we go. We're gonna just preload all of them. That way I can just keep flying through. My tabs are going to be insane. So I'm wondering if it's I wonder if it's this. There we go. And then get the link tree back up. Again, if you guys want your cards reviewed, the link is in the bio. You just go here and just click that Discord icon. The onboarding should take you exactly where you want to go. So definitely keep that in mind if you want to have your cards reviewed for free on our weekly grade review stream. So next up, we are going to look at the Venusaur. So let's take a look. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so centering looks good. The hollow pattern actually, or the hollow itself looks good in this light. The only thing that I can see is that there might be a little bit of a something there. I don't know why I said that like Mario, but there's a little bit of something there. But the hollow pattern looks great. Top right corner looks great. Man, I love these pictures. Maybe this is why it took so long. Maybe that's why there's going to be print lines on it. Right, Joran? Oh, there they are. The preload. When he preloaded it, immediately just scratched it when it was coming out of the printer of my screen. So we definitely have some scratches there in that top left part. So as we flip it over, we have a little bit of like dirt or grime or something like that in that top part. Not too bad. Honestly, there's not even a lot of like edge wear. Very mild in that bottom left hand or the bottom right hand corner. But yeah, this card, I think this card is in pretty decent shape, especially on the back. I think this looks. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit just so you guys can hopefully see what I'm talking about. Is this spot right here? So I think that can probably be removed. That's what it, at least like what it looks like to me, is that it can probably be removed. So I'd probably say, you know, you're looking at a pretty good 7, maybe an 8 because of these scratches. And some of the whitening in the corners. But still a fantastic card. No swirl so far. No, not on these. I think they started with base set 2 for the base set stuff is when that cosmic swirl pattern came in. All right, next up is the Tyranitar V. So let's take a look. So again, we're looking for 10s or busts for the full art stuff, and I can tell you pretty much right off the bat that this card will not get the 10. So a few reasons why, just in case if people want to know. So the first thing that I can see, the centering actually is really good, but it's these corner issues. So it almost looks like it was not stored properly or something happened to it specifically. So the bottom bottom left and bottom right are pretty hit. Additionally, this looks like a dent in the thigh of the Tyranitar, because as the artwork, you can kind of see it's very solid coloring, so there wouldn't be that type of detail on the leg of the Tyranitar. It doesn't really make too much sense. Probably in a tin. Yeah, actually, Castro, that's probably actually a really good point. Probably like kind of shaking around in the tin. And I think that's also further supported by a lot of like the side surface issues on the top and the bottom. Yes, semi-grade review, baby. So we have some issues on the bottom, and we have some pretty significant issues on the back, and especially for a modern card, like this is tough. Honestly, this is a very tough. I have no idea, semi. I really don't. So yeah, it would not get the 10. I really wouldn't even grade this card. I wouldn't even. Maybe you'd probably get like a 5, maybe. Just because of how much whitening there is on all around, like us, and on top of that, we have some pretty noticeable scratches on the back, and what I think is a dent on the leg. So you're probably looking at a PSA 5, even a PSA 4, to be honest, depending on how bad if these are like actual dents, because dents have a pretty significant impact on the grade. No pun intended. My daughter got an unopened tin and shook it. I opened it and pulled a Zard, but edge is identical. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. People are like shaking bacon them and trying to I don't know. But so I don't think that will get the 10. And then we have a vintage. So Flareon, excuse me. Fab, do people submit pictures of their cards? Yes, so they submit pictures on the Discord. So real quick, if you want yours, and it's completely for free, all you have to do is just click the link in my bio on TikTok. It'll send you to a link tree. Yep, and all you have to do is just click the link on the Discord, and there's an onboarding process that will send you directly to the grade review channel. You just submit your pictures there, front and back. You can submit as many as you want. Again, completely for free, but it is first come, first serve when we do these Wednesday streams, and it's 5 cards per person per stream. So that's pretty much it. Really simple. So this Flareon, yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, it's tough, semi. It really is. It really is. So yeah, a lot of silvering, like I mentioned in the beginning of stream. We have a lot of silvering on these edges, but again, very common. This is actually a really good angle of the silvering on this Flareon. And I don't know if I have brought this up before, but I think it's worth repeating. When you look at Unlimited Jungle, does anyone know what the common, or not common, but the error that is going to be present on certain Unlimited Jungle copies, hollow copies? Does anyone know what error you should be looking for when looking at Unlimited Hollow Jungle? Does anyone know? Because they are considered an error that certain people like to collect, because it is on the hollows specifically. The claw, nope. Is not the claw. It's actually going to be the Vileplume marking, or the flower. So this is actually not going to even be there. So this is actually what would be considered a no symbol error if this was missing, and that's present on any hollow for Unlimited Jungle, if it's the error. So it almost looks like a base set, essentially, with no set symbol. So those are called the jungle no symbol errors. So it's always something to look for. But this is not it. This is just a regular unlimited hollow jungle. I don't know. That's why I'm here, right, Phoenix? Looks like the small print lines on the hollow. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of scratches and print lines, for sure. Because we have some dirt here which can be cleaned, but that's the least of these problems. We have scratching on the text. We have scratching on the ear. Like what a few people said, by the tail. some dirt or smudge or grease or something like that. So we have some dirt and grime there, and it actually looks like we have enough people. We can do, when I flip it over, we can do a chat vote. We also have some whitening on the bottom and the corners. So definitely played for sure. So yeah, so now that we have a good amount of people in here. So if we're gonna do a quick chat vote for the Flareon. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Flareon would get, the vote is active now. So all you have to do is type in !vote followed by the number on what you think this Flareon would get. So here is the front of the Flareon. Again, most of the issues are on like the scratching, some dirt and grime on the text, as well as the back. So again, !vote followed by the number on what you think this card would get as a PSA grade. So while you guys are voting, I'm going to read chat. Let's see. Unless you find a Flareon collector. Yeah, there's really, like, in terms of like resellability, especially for unlimited jungle, this card probably wouldn't be worth grading. I definitely agree. But again, if you guys want to vote, it's !vote followed by the grade. I just want to make sure, for those of you who are trying to vote, I want to make sure your vote counts. So !vote followed by the number. I sent a Vileplume to you. Would it be checked next stream? It would be next stream, Marcus. Oh no, I know you're not being mean, Grum. I definitely see where you're coming from. You know, from an ROI perspective, I definitely understand for sure. That's a good point. That's still a good point to bring up. I didn't think you were trying to be mean. And honestly, too, some people just like, because this is a free service, right? So people are just like, hey, I've had this since my childhood. If you want to take a look at a card, it's like, sure, why not? You know, because you'd be surprised. I've seen some cards that people say that, you know, have been in their childhood collection. They're like, oh, it's going to be beat up. And some of them are like, not that bad. Yeah, right. 10 in my books because Fave Evo, right? Well, there you go. We found the Flareon collector. All right. Let's see. So chat vote is 4. So let me just write that down. And give me 1 second. I saw a few people just ask me a question, but I'm not looking at chat right now. I just have to write this down real quick because I'm looking at a totally different screen. So chat is thinking 4 on this Flareon. So now, before I do my assessment, will my cards make it in next stream if I submit tonight? No, unfortunately, it'll be viewed. It'll be queued up for next week. If a card is near a window, will the sun damage it over time? Yes, it will. It will definitely get sun dyed for sure. So unless you have the card behind some UV protected glass, but even then, like, UV will degrade over time. But UV damage will happen for sure, like Joran's saying. So if you have anything in a window or anything like that, luckily my collection does. There's a bunch of buildings around me, so the sunlight never hits that wall. That's literally the only reason why I have those out, and all those cases are UV coated or protected. I shouldn't say coated, but yeah, definitely, that's definitely a good question. So okay, so this Flareon, the centering is actually pretty good, but there's just like a lot of things that we can definitely improve upon it, hopefully, and some that we can't. So this, first off, this dirt by the attack, probably get that cleaned off to improve that surface grade. There is silvering all around the edge of the card, which is as to be expected. More dirt up there. We do have some scratches on the text of the card. So normally when we get to this type of scratching, we're starting to get more in like that light play, moderately played condition. And with the dirt as it sits now, we're already kind of in that mod play. So we'll kind of flip it over. And again, some more whitening on the back corners. And let me just zoom out a little bit so you guys can see what I'm hovering over. So we have a little bit of whitening here on the all around the edge. And really the big thing that I'm looking at, how quickly does it happen? I keep my best in my pantry, but have had some others out for a week. I'm not too sure. Like I've never like done like a window test. Like just maybe that might be a good thing to try, is just to stick a card out there. But I really have no idea, to be honest, like how long a card needs to be exposed to the sun before it starts to get sun damaged. I'd probably say sooner rather than later to move them out, you know. But yeah, really the big thing is I'm not seeing any creases, which is really big, or bends or anything like that, or dents even. I think it's just really the dirt. So I'd say if there was any creases or bends, I'd probably give it like a 3 or a 4. They want to get a tan, right? You got to get that vitamin D. So yeah, I think if you can't get rid of that dirt and all that on the front, I would definitely agree that a 4 is warranted. So I'll even put that, but if you can, I'd probably say a 5. So 5, clean. 4, no. So that'd be kind of my opinion. So if you can clean that dirt and debris off the front, I'd probably say a 5. But if you can't, you're probably looking at a 4, would be my opinion. Which is fair. Which is totally fair. How should I clean it? I actually have a video. So I'm going to be opening up a cleaning service soon. I actually have to make a Discord announcement here, and then like on Monday, actually, this coming Monday, I open it up to the Discord for early access, which is really cool. But if you're not interested in the service, I also have a video further down, either in TikTok or over on YouTube. It's where I clean the Espeon. So everything that I've done there is kind of quickly highlighted in that. So that's what I recommend. All right, so next up is Joran. So let's take a look. Okay, what about a natural bend in the card? Like looking from the side, if it's not perfectly straight. Grump, I'd say probably the easiest way. If you ever, like as a kid or even as an adult, I'm not shaming anyone for doing this. If you ever flattened leaves, like in a book, that's probably the best, like easiest way for someone to do it. Like obviously keep it in a sleeve. But if you put it in between a bunch of books and kind of like make it nice and heavy so that the weight of the books kind of flattens out the card, if you have it in there for like a few days. Additionally, if it's like a stubborn crease and like the memory is kind of built into the card, putting it into a humidor for about 30 to 45 seconds at 70% humidity roughly, and also doing the same process may also work. I probably wouldn't use like a book though in that case with a humidor. I'd probably use something like acrylic plates or something like that with clamps. That's what I do. But yes, yep, cleaning and grading. I wouldn't actually be the one submitting your cards, because some people, well, the last thing I ever want to have happen is like if someone sends cards that are identical, like the same Lugia V, or for example, the last thing I ever want to have happen is have them mixed up when they come back. If I submit them all in the same order, I basically make them PSA grade ready, essentially. How'd that card turn out last week? It turned out great. Let me actually pull it out. Let's see. So it's going to be this one. So it was the Mewtwo is what I did the process for. So this one was pretty bad. I'm gonna probably do some more rounds with it. But it was pretty significantly bent on the right side. And so it's gone through a few, I don't even know if you can tell, but it's pretty straight. And a lot of the work was you know, didn't damage the card at all or anything like that. But I definitely have had to do it over the course of a few days with a bunch of cycling. But definitely was able to get it a little bit more straightened out. So yeah. Let's see. What goes into getting them ready for grading? Like you mean after a cleaning service or just like submitting to PSA in general? Let me, while I wait for your response, I'm going to go back to the Shaman EX, which this card looks beautiful. This card is so cute. All right, let's take a look. Promo, Shaman EX. This card actually looks in really good shape. There's really nothing for me to even comment on, to be honest. Corners look great. The centering looks really good. The radiant stuff looks great. Yeah, probably, Joran. Then the back corners. Oh, because these are your cards. I just put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, the front looks great. Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're talking about for the corners. We got a little bit of whitening on the top left. Nothing on the bottom left. Bottom right, from what I can tell, looks good. Do have a little bit of a scratch there, but I'd say it has to be expected for a promo. You know what I mean? And that top right corner is pretty good too. A little bit of white speck there. You can probably just wipe off. And so we just, we're just hit AK likes. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. But I would say probably like, because of how good the front is, legitimately, like the front is really well centered. The corners look great on the front. So I'd say probably a good 8 contender, unless there's something else that we can't see from the lighting. Like for example, like these little white specks, if they can or cannot be removed, in addition to maybe something here, I can't really tell. But based off of what I'm seeing, the edges look really clean, but like maybe this scratch, I don't know if it's just the light that's making it look worse than it is. Maybe that might bring it down to a 7 if that's too rough. And these scratches are pretty common for promos, because you can kind of see these print lines on the back. So yeah, maybe that might, like, seeing. Thank you for reminding me that because I preloaded all these. I didn't know if my browser was going to be slow again. But yeah, I'd say with these additional scratches, I'd probably say a 7 in my opinion. Awesome, Febreze. Yeah, with the print lines, I also agree. I think it'd probably get a, like, because from here you don't see them on the left side, but when you flip it over or like shine the angle a little bit more, 7 I think is pretty fair because of those. But still a really clean card. Grill, thanks so much for sharing the live. Just submitted 3 cards on the court. Awesome. How was the just out of curiosity, Fob, if you're still in here, was it pretty easy for the onboarding process? I just configured it last week, and I tested it myself, but I'm curious for someone who hasn't used it. You don't have to provide it if you're even here, but that'd be awesome just to kind of get your feedback. And welcome, by the way. Thank you for joining. Okay, so the Shaman, still a great card though. Yes, he had some really cool XY stuff. Like this Mega Mewtwo EX looks really cool. Centering looks great. Yeah, Fob, I was just curious if you just joined the Discord, how your onboarding experience was. I just turned that on last week, and I did some testing through my alt account, but I just wanted to see from someone else who kind of went through it for the first time if it was pretty easy to understand and follow. I tried simplifying it a little bit more, just so you guys could like, yeah, I wanted to show you like where exactly the server you're supposed to go to for grade review and kind of like walk you through the biggest channels on the server. Because I think before it was a little bit too overwhelming at first, so I wanted to kind of simplify it. So it's good to hear, Fob. Thanks so much for letting me know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Semi. This card is sick. Yeah, front, I can't. Nothing notable on the front either. Like, I'm not seeing any major scratches or dings or bends or anything like that. And I think, yeah, there's no, like we saw with the Shaman, there's no scratches on the back, which is great. A little bit of whitening, a little bit of issues on that bottom left corner, and very mild. Like, that'd be like, if there's nothing else and just that, still be a 9. But yeah, this card is in really good shape. Because I'd probably even say, like, I think just because of how clean the front looks, unless there's some other scratches that we can't tell, I would probably... Because I just know, like, it's so funny now, because now that I've seen my Sabrina's Gaze that I got back, that for those of you who saw me get that card back from PSA, like, I just don't... This doesn't look like a Sabrina's Gaze to me, right, in terms of the condition. So I want to say, like, if I were to learn from my submissions, I would want to say an 8 for this card, just knowing that the Sabrina's Gaze what got a 7, and this does not look like that at all. So I'm gonna say probably an 8 for this Mega Mewtwo for sure. And then the next one, again, some really I'm glad you brought some heat, Joran. These are some really cool. I love these old EX cards, these old full arts. And there's always the factor on whether or not your grader is having a great day. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. But yeah, this Rayquaza looks so sick. This EX, like something about these EXs, right? Like when you get like a V now, you're like, like kind of bulk or whatever. But these ones, for whatever reason, just like, they just look so good. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the thick yellow, like stroke lines on the outside, but this card looks really cool. Centering looks really good. Again, I've kind of mentioned this before, Joran, but I'll say it here again. Like these little white specks on the neck and like the body, like just take a microfiber cloth. If you can just wipe those off, just to kind of improve your surface score a little bit more, because they'll consider that again if you guys are new here. And then this angle actually looks pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what it is, but this the arm is like glowing. This is actually a pretty cool shot. And then the back, yeah, you're right. So there are some issues on the back. So someone was mentioning, so we can kind of see a little bit of a bend here. And so why to flip? Oh, like this? I don't know. Someone else had this issue too. But it's okay. I can just do, because I removed that extension. I think it was slowing down my browser. But yeah, we just have a little like mild whitening, kind of like on the edges here. Not too bad. But really the big one, and I have to kind of zoom in for this slide to go back. So we have a little bit of a bend here, right? So I feel like if left untreated, this will actually have a pretty significant impact on your overall surface score. So you'd probably even get like a 3 if left untreated. However, this is something that can be pretty easily flattened out over time. Again, something as simple as using kind of like the book method. Because again, like even something as clean, if you guys have seen my Erica's Ivysaur, but I think you can probably just flatten those out, and that shouldn't be a major issue, in my opinion. If you can flatten that out just to not have that bend, like quote unquote, or like the surface like wave have an impact on the grader's perspective of your surface score, you shouldn't have a problem. So don't worry about it too much, because you kind of see it a little floating up here on the top. But with the whitening on the edge, and I'll have to zoom out again because it's flipped a little bit. So I think the front is in really good shape. It's really just the mild whitening on the back. So I think if we can flatten out, you take them out of top loaders for flattening. Yes. Yep. So really all you do, like if you're just, here's a quick, I'll kind of do like a very quick how to flatten this. So for context, if you're just joining, this Rayquaza EX has a little bit of a bend here. So the question is what is the best quickest way to flatten this out with what you already have around your house. So essentially all you'd have to do is just put it in a sleeve and then put it right in the center of like a book, like a very heavy book, and pretty much just close it right in the middle of the book and then stack additional weight on top of it. But you have to make sure that you distribute the weight across the book evenly, because you don't want it to be like one center point. You don't want it to like bend or dent the card or anything like that. So just have it in a sleeve, have it in like the middle of the book, in the middle of the pages, and then just put some weight on it, have it sit for a few days, and then kind of take it out, look at it. If it still has a little bit of a bend, just kind of keep rinse and repeat. That's like some stuff that you can do at home. However, if it's a little bit more stubborn, meaning that if like kind of the memory, so to speak, is kind of baked into the card, you might have to treat it with a little bit of humidity. The best way to do that safely is probably a humidor. 70% humidity, right around 30 to 45 minutes, depending. You kind of keep an eye on it. And then pretty much just do the same thing. But I would normally use like plexiglass sheets, with some foam inserts or anything like that. And all my stuff for that is actually in my link tree. So like everything like of that side is in there. But that's probably the easiest way, in my opinion. So, speaking of top loaders, what if the top loader itself has a bend to it? I would just throw out the top loader then, to be honest. I'd throw out the top loaders are so inexpensive. And if you're having a card in a top loader, chances are you like the card. So just get a new top loader. That's what I would do. And if you don't have the funds to, if you're near like a local game store, they have thousands upon thousands of top loaders for their stuff. You just ask them politely, like, hey, I have a top loader that's bent. Do you mind if I just have one for free or whatever? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. If it were me, if someone asked me, it's like, yeah, I have 1,000 of them. That's what I would do. How do you know when you're in the queue for grading? So every Wednesday, Jay, I will notify the Discord of those who are in. So if you look in the Discord now in the Grade Review channel, the one that's currently active is actually a thread. It's Grade Review episode 34Q. So, especially the colored edge ones. Yeah, I honestly kind of refrain from using those colored edge ones for that exact reason. I noticed that they kind of like the ones that are colored have a little bit more like, I don't know, like they kind of do exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, I would just get like Ultra Pro top loaders. Again, any local game store will have tens of thousands of them, but they're really worth the investment. I guarantee it. So going back to what I think this card would get, this Rayquaza as a PSA grade. The front is immaculate. The back is really just like the very, very mild whitening. So I'd say you're probably teetering on the edge of a 7 or 6. I would probably say a pretty soft 7, in my opinion, once you get this kind of bend, this bow out of the card. And again, just doing the book method or using the humidor method. One is a lot cheaper, obviously. The other one you have to invest a little bit more into. But again, everything that I personally use is in my link tree. So just to kind of point you in the right direction. It's more of just like an accumulation of stuff that doesn't like force you to buy anything. It's just a list of the stuff I buy. So I have all my cards in the magnetic holders. Yeah, some of those are pretty good because they're a little bit more rigid. Yeah, that's the reason, Grom. So Grom, those magnetic top loaders, they just like click on. Let me see if I can find one to show you. They're just called magnetic top loaders. These are actually the ones that I use to display my cards on my wall. So they just look like this. Let me see if I can. So they're just these. They're like UV one touch magnetic holders. And so all they do is you put the card inside, and then they kind of clamp together magnetically. That's all they look like. That's all they do. Yeah, if it's just a blue check, it means that it was like you're good to go. You're ready for the next queue. If it's green, then I went over it today. But yeah. So that would be that one. And let's see. So yeah, that is pretty much it for that one. Let me I'll submit some more cards. Yeah, I mean, again, if you guys want to submit your cards, for those of you who are new here, the link is in the bio to the link tree. All you got to do is just click this Discord icon. It'll send you right where you need to go. You go through the orientation or the onboarding process, and it'll send you right to the grade review channel. You submit your pictures there for free. You can submit as many as you want. Yeah, it's just limited to 5 cards per person per week. And that's pretty much it. So that is episode 34 in the books. So again, it's always a fun time to do a grade review with you guys. So now I'm just kind of chilling before I wrap it up, because normally what I do at the end of stream, I like to kind of because I edit all my own videos, so I gotta download the VOD, clip it, ship it, all that fun stuff. But yeah, so now that I guess some cool announcements. So now that we hit 9,000 followers on TikTok, which I never in a million years would think. The fact that we're even on the road to 10K is crazy. But I told you guys when we hit 9, so all this stuff on the back, this back wall, that's all my personal collection from my childhood. It's never gone through the cleaning process. It's never done anything. To be honest, I never cared to ever grade them or whatever. I just love them on the wall, just as is. And I'm going to I'm going to basically go through all of them and clean all of them to see what I would think that they would get, or maybe improve them or whatever. And just kind of nerd out and just kind of talk about, because I remember, I would say all the holos especially, I remember pretty vividly where I got most of them. And they're pretty cool stories. You know, some are funny, some are wholesome, some are whatever. So it'll be kind of cool to like go through and just kind of reminisce on my own personal collection that's on the wall. And at 10K, I actually have a case. And you can't see it. You can probably see a little bit of it if you're on YouTube, but you really can't see it on TikTok because of how I have to crop my image. But at 10K, I'll show you guys like my actual like stuff that doesn't really see the light of day. I had to take it out of storage for my upcoming shows in October and November. So that'd be kind of cool once they hit 10K to kind of show that off. That's like basically it's pretty much everything up there, but graded in different variants, and all like most of them first edition and all that fun stuff. So 10K followers. 10K followers, not 10K likes. But I appreciate the 10K likes. That's crazy. But that's for another day. Because that stuff I haven't seen. I like rarely show anyone that stuff because it's normally in storage. It's very rare that collection ever sees the light of day. But it's always cool to show. It's always cool to show off, and kind of like the story behind them and whatever. So yeah. So I think the next time, so I guess some other cool announcements. So I'm going to be coming up 4 weeks until next show. So for more context, I'm going to be doing more like behind the scenes of how I prepare for a show about a month out. So I'll need to put an alarm to listen to your Wednesday streams. Jay, so actually the best way to do that, is I have an event in the Discord. So all you have to do is you just basically select that you're interested in the event, and you'll get a notification when the event comes up. And I think if you're on, I don't know what it is on mobile, but let me hopefully share. So like if you go to, where is it? The events. So the events will look like up here. So you just click the event. So if you go to the grade review, all you have to do is show that you're interested, and you'll get a notification when it's 7 o'clock or whatever it is your time. That's like for notifications, that's probably the easiest way. Oh, you do that. Oh, well, there you go. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna start starting next week. I'm gonna start to make some videos and behind the scenes on how I prepare for a show a month out, because a month, even though it sounds like a lot of time, there's a lot that I have to start doing. in preparation for a month. I got some cool stuff for a new booth that I'm super excited to share, so you'll probably start seeing that. You guys might even be part of a brand new video, almost like a pseudo documentary kind of vibe. So if you want to be a part of that, join that. But yeah, super stoked to start making that video. Super excited to make more vendor POVs. The tail end of 2024, and then especially leading into 2025. I have a lot more shows that I'm going to be going to in 2025. I'm super excited for that. I've basically just been buying my time, getting enough of an inventory to have multiple shows. So super stoked for that. So I'm going to be showing that entire process, start to finish. And I think it's really unique because I don't think a lot of people do that. I don't think there's a lot of people that show the process of getting ready for a show and like all the work that's required to get to that point, and you know, all that stuff. So I think it'd be kind of cool to show off. So yeah, I think the next time I'm going to be streaming the TCG Card Shop Simulator. I'm going to keep my run on going that. I think that's a fun game. It's super fun to to play that and see how I would run a game store, quote unquote, spray down people who smell. But yeah, as always, guys, I can't say it enough, especially for the 9K followers. You guys are absolutely amazing. I really do appreciate. I say this all the time, but it really, really does mean a lot. How much support and love you guys show me and to the rest of the community, I cannot be more grateful. You guys are awesome. You guys are the reason why I like doing this so much. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. You guys are the best. So next time you'll see me live is probably going to be this Monday, playing some games, which is always fun, kind of relax and chat, chill with chat. And next Wednesday, again, if you guys want your cards reviewed in next week's episode 35, make sure to submit your cards sooner rather than later in the grade review channel on my Discord. Again, that's in my link in my bio to get there. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your night.